So I get to play this guy, Lawrence Walker on Insecure, he starts out as Issa's depressed, lazy boyfriend, who we don't think has much ambition when we first meet him. We don't think he's a good boyfriend. And he's not a good boyfriend when we first meet him. But Issa, calls him out, and he kind of tries to get everything back together, and he gets a job, and he tries to provide, and he's a smart guy. We come to find out he's a smart guy, and he is ambitious, and he wants to start his own business, and he's just kind of in his own way. He's kind of crippled with fear when we first meet him. And then over time, we start to see this guy kind of flourish and bloom and become so much more. He becomes a good boyfriend. He becomes a good friend. He becomes, he goes to work every day and becomes a productive dude. And what we also start to see, though, is he has, a bunch of insecurities, like all of us, and he, like most of us, doesn't want to acknowledge those insecurities. And they kind of start to eat away at him and his friendships and his relationships and his work life. And he makes some bad decisions and doesn't communicate, and finds himself, after 2 seasons, very single and not as career happy, I guess, as he would like to be. But that's a part of life, and he has to grow through that. I relate to Lawrence in the way that I know what it's like to, what I do for a living. I joke about this all the time. I get told no for a living, right? For every one audition I get, for every one insecure I get, I probably got told no 200 times before I got that yes. And so it's easy to fall into a place of discouragement and depression and fear and feeling like the world is against you. And it's even easier when it feels like society is against you as a black man. And so those are things that I can relate to easily. I can relate to, what it is to be ambitious and want to start your own thing. I left a job and started this acting career from scratch when I was 27 years old. So it was a completely new thing for me. And I had jobs before that. And so I know what it's also like to have that feeling of like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm terrified, but I'm going to do this because this is the thing that I'm passionate about and I love it. And if I don't do it now and if I don't try, then I'm going to regret that I never did it. So at least let me try. And so I can relate to that, I could also relate to what it's like to not use all your words and not communicate as well as you could, and how that could give you some bumps and bruises along the way, send you on a roller coaster ride along the way with people in your life. And then insecurities, I mean, we all have insecurities. From a work standpoint, it's did I do a good enough job? Could I have done a better job? Am I gonna get the job? Am I gonna ever get a job? There's always those kind of things that run through your mind when you're constantly, again, you're just auditioning and being told no. And it may have nothing to do with you at all. Most times it doesn't actually. But those things start to play in your mind sometimes. And so you guys have to find a way to kind of overcome that and not dwell on that stuff and those negatives. And then in just life, I could be a better friend, a better son, I could be a better global citizen. There's all kinds of things where I go, man, like, was I good enough at that, or could I have been better at that, or what should I have done? Am I good enough to be in that or to do that, So I think we all have those kind of things. Rejection. Nobody wants rejection. All kinds of things like that.